Hi everyone, it's Jessica. Today I am so excited to be scrapbooking these cute pictures of my cat. His name is Boo Radley, and a photo of my kids from a couple of years ago when they were gathered around and petting him, and he was being very sweet and letting them because normally kids are not his favorite kind of humans. And I thought that I would use the Sawyer papers that are new from Close to My Heart for January and February of 2022. Now in the paper pack you do get 6 sheets, so you're going to get 2 of each of these designs. There is this pretty mint paper here, and then there's the back side, and then there is also a fun banner paper, and then another one that has a lot of purples and a little pop of peach that is in the shape of leaves. And then on the back side, there's this one that's that new harbor color, and it has really little tiny pops of color in it. And then this is the mulberry pattern piece, and then of course a gorgeous floral. And so like I said, you get 2 sheets of each of those. And I was drawn to this paper pack for these photos because they matched some of the colors that were in my pictures. And then when I was going through it, I noticed on this harbor piece of paper that when you look very closely at what the design is, they're not paw prints, but they almost kind of look like paw prints. And so I thought that that would be really perfect for doing a pet layout. I don't scrapbook Boo that often. I do from time to time like to stick a page in there for him, just so that when they're older, my kids remember their pets from when they were growing up. But he is definitely a very beloved member of our family. He's going to be turning 17 this spring, so he is an old man, sometimes a grumpy old man, but a very sweet old man. All right, so I'm going to cut off the zip strip to get everything started. And then I know I want to use that harbor piece, but I really like the mint pattern on the other side. So I'm really hoping to keep this layout simple and fast. So what I think I'm going to do is just cut 3 inches off the top of this piece of paper and then flip it over. So that way I can have both sides of this pretty pattern paper, because I don't know about you guys, but the struggle is real. Sometimes when you have a double-sided paper and you're like, but I love both sides. This is maybe a way to kind of, use both of them and not feel like you're abandoning the pretty other side. So what I'm going to do is off camera, I'm going to go find an ugly piece of paper from an old paper stack, one that I'm never going to use, and I'm just going to use that ugly piece of paper as a base so that I can glue both of those down and make it look like one 12 by 12 sheet. So I've got that part all set up. And then I've also grabbed a piece of Harbor cardstock as a photo mat for my pictures. So I've cut my photos to 4 by 5, and I did that. It's kind of an odd size, but they were 4 by 6, and I had, some random dead space at the top of the one photo, and I didn't really want to have my messy kitchen counter scrapbooked forever. So I just cut them down to 4 by 5, and then my cardstock is 5 1/4 by 8 3/8. So that way I can have an eighth of an inch all the way around each of them. Now I noticed though that when I put my Harbor cardstock down on this paper, it doesn't really jump out the way that I want it to because it's too dark and it matches too closely. So what I think I'm going to do is, I'm going to pull the zip strip off and I'm going to use that. But off camera, I am going to use my sanding block, and I'm going to pull the color off of that Harbor piece of cardstock. And that's going to give it a bit of a white border as well. And then, like I said, I'm just going to use this zip strip so I can get a couple more colors going in here. And that's going to go there. So like I said, I did this and you can see how fun that looks. Close to My Heart's cardstock has a white core, and so this is definitely a trick that I like to do. And now that definitely pops much more than it did before. And then I'm going to put my photos on there. So the reason I did this off camera is because I like to line up my piece of paper flush against the edge of my desk. And then I take that sanding block and I rub it across the top like on an angle. And I find that so much easier to do when you have it flush against your desk rather than like holding it in the air in your hand. Okay, so I grabbed some mint cardstock and I used my Tags and Tabs thin cut to do a little partial thin cut here. And I think I'm going to have a couple of tags sticking out on the top. And then I want to have that mint color also across the bottom. And so my thought is I'm going to use one of the thin cuts from the Sawyer card making workshop stamp set. So that particular stamp is something that you get with the workshop to make 16 cards. But I really love this thin cut on here, which creates this fun scallop border across the bottom of your paper. And it's not going to cut it in a strip, so don't be deceived by that picture that you see on the stamp set. It's just going to cut that scallop into the bottom of the paper, so the top of the paper will still remain whole. And I think that that's a really neat thing to have in a thin cut. So I've just grabbed this little scrap piece of paper because I'm going to need only a little bit showing underneath my photos. And then I'm lining up the scallops with the bottom of my paper so I know that I'm going to have a straight cut. And then I'll run that through my Cuttlebug. And then this is what it looks like. Now, I could keep lining that thin cut up if I had a longer strip of paper that I wanted to use. And I have done that before, and it was very easy to line up and do that with. But for this one, I just need a little piece showing underneath those photos. So I'm going to trim it down, and there we go. So isn't that so fun? I just love that. It's like a little bonus in addition to that card making workshop that I get to use this on a layout as well. Okay, so this is my thought, right? Like put that there, have the other piece down below. And then this is a scrap piece of paper also from Sawyer. I think I'm going to use it to put up in that top right corner as a little pennant banner. And then I have that zip strip there over to the left-hand side. That's from the top of one of the other papers in the Sawyer collection. And I'm going to cut that, dovetail it into a little pennant banner also. And then that's going to be one of the points of my 3 clusters, if you will. And so I'll just kind of eyeball where I want that to go. And then same thing, I'll cut up from the middle and then from side to side to make that dovetail in that particular piece there. So, okay. And then off camera, I will edge distress those with some ink. And then here you can see I've done that with some grape ink because grape is the darker purple that is in this pack. Okay, now I found some wisteria pattern paper in the November and December mix-in collection, and I pulled that because it matches the colors that are in this collection. And I cut it out twice because I think this is where I'm going to have my journaling go. And when I pull that tag out of my page protector, I want the paper to be the same on both sides of it. So I will adhere those together later, but that's why I did cut that one twice, and then I've edge distressed those in wisteria ink. So in order to do that though, I'm thinking like a foam tape pocket might be the best way to put that together. So before I put that foam tape down, I'm just trying to get those other pieces adhered that won't really be movable the way that that tag will. So I'll just kind of put these ones down. Like I said, I did want this to be a fast and quick page, something kind of easy. I am way behind in my scrapbooking, as I think most scrapbookers are. And I know that for me, when I am just trying to knock some pages out, I will keep the design simple, and then I let myself pick like 2, maybe even 3 like extra things that I can do fairly quickly just to dress up the page a little bit, so that even though it comes together quickly, that it doesn't feel too plain when I am done. Okay, so I stamped that sentiment. It's from the Catitude stamp set. And then this is the stamp set called Taking It All In, and it has this really pretty row of hearts on it. And so I am going to stamp those in Harbor ink all the way across that zip strip there. And I just thought that was kind of a fun way to add a little bit of something extra. So like I said, I'm trying to keep it fast and simple, but also put a couple of quick things on there to dress it up. So I let myself do a couple of those die cuts. I'm going to do a little bit of this stamping, which happens really fast. And then my other thing was to kind of cut those little banners and do some of that other little stamping. And so that's it. So like I said, coming together actually really fast. And so now I am ready to do that foam tape pocket. And I have these extra little pieces on my slimline rectangle shaker foam squares that I have. There's some longer pieces in there, and so I'm just grabbing those. And I'm going to create a little spot. Whoops, I ran out, so I'm going to go to the next one and just kind of separate it a little bit and pull these off. So these are actually meant for creating shaker cards with the slimline die cuts, but then you get all of these bonus pieces of foam tape, which is fabulous because I'm about to use a lot of foam tape on the back of this piece of cardstock here. And so I felt a little bit better knowing I was just kind of using up my bonus foam tape here. I'm not going to lie, I at this point was kind of wishing that I had some of that craft fun foam to put behind this so that I didn't have to use as much. There was a small part of me that was dying having this much foam tape on the back of it, but I think it'll turn out really well. And then, like I said, that way that tag can easily slide in and out. What I'll do is just when I put it in my page protector, I will use an X-Acto knife to cut a little slit where that tag is, so that when whomever is looking at my page, they can just kind of pull that tag in and out, and that foam will create that nice little pocket for it to stay put and not get lost behind that piece of cardstock. So it'll go just like so. And that's where I will write my journaling on later. Okay, so I'm almost done. I just need a title. I do have that little one up at the top that says never underestimate the power of a purr, but I want something bigger. So I'm using, these are the white foam alphabet letters from Close to My Heart, and I believe they are still available. I'll link those down below. And I kind of went back and forth on what the title was going to be, but ultimately I decided on Hey Boo. And it just came to me because I am an English teacher and I do teach To Kill a Mockingbird with my freshmen. And we are at the moment right at the very end of the novel. And one of my very favorite parts is when, I apologize if you haven't read the book, I'm about to give a little something away. So spoiler alert, when Scout sees Boo Radley in their house and she just says, "Hey Boo," and it's the first time that she gets to talk to him, and it's just such a sweet moment. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to do "Hey Boo" as my favorite line from the book, and it's so perfect for my cat because he is named after Boo Radley from that novel. And so just going to put these down. Luckily, there was also a comma on there as well, so I'm going to put that one down last because I was using my T-square ruler to make sure that I put my letters on straight, but the comma is going to come down a little bit. So I'll put that one on last, and then that will be my title. And then I'll have that never underestimate the power of a purr, which I think I said was from the Catitude stamp set. And then those two together will finish off the page. Now on that same Taking It All In stamp set, there is a solid heart. And so I'm going to grab that and using some Harbor ink. It's not going to be super noticeable. It is more so in person, probably not here on camera. But I'm going to stamp a couple of hearts around my Hey Boo. And I'm going to do 3 over to the right side and then 2 over to the left side so that I have a total of 5. One of the things that I have learned as I've been watching lots of talented people on YouTube is that odd numbers are the way to go. And of course, visual triangles. So I'm just trying to keep all of that in mind as I am pulling this together. And I think, except for actually writing my journaling down, I am done. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Like I said, looking for a fast way to put a page together, get a couple things done here. And those are my tricks, just, picking a few things to fancy it up, but otherwise keeping the design simple and just letting it kind of put itself together. All right, guys, if you see anything that you enjoy, please consider shopping on my website. I would really appreciate your support. And as always, if you liked this, give me a like and a comment. And if you're not a subscriber already, I would love for you to become one. I just have so much fun putting these together and seeing what everybody else creates on YouTube as well. All right, guys, have a wonderful day and happy crafting.